It said excellent connection for like 30 seconds. There it is. Right. So hopefully everybody can hear us. Can you hear us? We're now live.
I can hear
While I'm
us.
singing. While I'm singing. That's great. Hi everybody. How you doing?
It's the best. We need to do one of those type countdown things. This is so anticlimactic. Hello, everybody, and welcome. It's been a few weeks.
It has. We'll catch you
How
up
is
on what's
everyone?
been going on. Hopefully
Michael, how
as
are you?
well. I'm very well. Let's talk over one another. We've got so much to catch up on. And we have we have a new system, so we might disappear this evening. New system being, I've got new broadband. I don't know how it's going to handle the stream. What you should see is a much higher quality stream, which isn't.
You should. And hello, Ghost Sphere Games. That's a fantastic name for a games company.
It's no guarantee that the content will be higher quality, just that we will be higher quality.
Well, our intro is pretty much on brand, where we get all
This is
excited.
true.
Mikey says, "I'm going to press the button." Oh, for the blue light, I've got to wait. And then suddenly it's like, oh, and I think they can hear us now. So one of these days we will have like a professional countdown thing, so we know. But this is
We
not
did have
that
a professional countdown. You counted down from 5. It was brilliant. So, all being well, the stream should be stable, more stable than it's ever been before, although it did crash a couple of weeks ago. My internet just disappeared. That was lovely. Right at the very end of the stream.
Gerard, I missed you there.
Ah, excellent. Good evening, everybody. Woo.
So how long's it been? It's been like 3-4 weeks?
3-4 weeks, something like that. I've been marred by disease. No, school holidays. The children, they've been.
Children are technically a disease.
They're kind of a parasite for part of their life.
Moving on.
And then I got this weird throat infection that just completely took it out. And of course, trying to do this, it was so Jan and I were talking Monday morning about going on and doing the stream last week, and when the stream started, I was like, I lost my voice completely, and it hurt to swallow. And yeah, I'm back from that now. I feel great, but that was like yesterday.
Yeah, even when we were playing like our wind down zombie games, he could hardly speak. It was amazing.
I just blended in with the zombies, right?
Good. We seem to have a whole conversation going on about parasites and me being as supreme as ever.
Sounds legit.
Yep. But in the background, we've been working hard. I've been catching up with the content we've been missing for the old Godot courses and getting the new Godot course, which is launching today. In fact, if you're already a lifetime member or you bought the bundle, you already have access. Otherwise, you're about to have access when I send the sales email, which Mikey will do the sales video for first. Mikey's been working on the assets for me to start on the Godot section of the RPG course.
I have a story to tell about those.
But there's a story. We lost a bunch, so we had to start over.
The air was blue, but we'll tell more about that. There's actually a couple of learning points from it, other than remember to save, because I was, but more on that later.
But yeah, I feel like in a second we should play the video. These include 2 of our Mythos characters, actually new Mythos characters. We have Space Duck and Legit Penguin, who comes about from a sketch I drew of a legit penguin. These sprites were actually made by my girlfriend, Jessica, so thank you very much, Jess. Would you like to play the thing, and I will send the email?
I will. I hope that this starts from the beginning and not the middle. I'm still playing around with OBS. Let's go!
Hello, you wonderful Godot people, and welcome to Space Invadux, the second in our Godot for Everyone series of courses. My name's Jan, and I'm going to be your guide as we help players save the world from dastardly space ducks with our very own Legit Penguin. In this course, we're going to learn the basics of 2D game design and creation in Godot 4, from importing assets to animated sprites to different kinds of physics bodies, from handling projectiles to destructible blocks to particle explosions, from placing assets to exporting the game. This course is a great way to get to grips with 2D games in this wonderful engine. So, pick up a copy today, and I'll see you in the first video.
And we're back.
We are.
I love that sales video. It's so packed full of stuff. I think it'd be great to run through some of the things that people are going to learn in this part of Godot for Everyone.
I think it's a great idea. And the easiest way to do that is just replay the sales video.
Right.
Uh, okay, so we start from the beginning, right? So we give you the assets, just like we do in our other courses.
Yeah.
And we do a little bit of like, what's the experience going to be? What's the game design? And then we just start from first principles. It's designed around the idea of, rather than just being a recipe you can follow or a very simple, let's teach you what these things are. What is the difference between a character body, a rigid body, and a static body? When do you want to use them? When do you not want to use any of them? And just use an area. Our ducks are not character bodies at all. They're or physics bodies at all. They're areas because they don't need physics. We talk about particles and 2D lighting and having the creepy eye on the creepy moon follow you around the place. Take the buttons away from Mikey. Yes, that's an excellent idea.
My face when I clicked a button and it went, I'm going to play the sales video. I came back again. I didn't mean to do that.
So I'm watching it on the other monitor, but it's like 40 seconds behind.
Yeah.
So I just saw that happen. So thanks for that. We deal a lot with, we use a lot of strict typing. We try and use the best practices we can with things like groups and signals and single responsibilities. So a script should only do what it's meant to do. So the player doesn't deal with the bullets don't deal with the score doesn't deal with the ducks, and so on. They're separated as much as possible. And we know we do it well because in the last two videos, when we bring the options menu into our main menu, all we have to do is just drop it in and it works. We don't have to do any special coding. It's been designed in such a way that it's all plug and play.
That's brilliant.
Speaking of plugging and playing, Mikey, do you want to play?
Yes. I hope all this works. So I won't be able to hear the game audio, so I want you guys to let me know if it's too loud. I have turned it down, but I can't hear it, so I don't know if it's quiet.
Some things we've not done. There's no persistent scores, and we don't have persistent options saved. So if you turn the volume down and restart the game, or not restart, close the game and open it again, it won't have saved it. And it's not designed to scale. It's set at a specific size. So if it's a small section of Mikey's monitor, it's going to stay a small section of Mikey's monitor.
Let's go to my screen. Hopefully you can still hear me, and hopefully you can still hear Jan.
I can still hear you.
Excellent. Maybe. So let's go ahead and click play. So you guys should hear the audio now. It should be quiet enough, but if not, I'm going to go to options and just turn down that master volume a little bit. Then I can click done, and then we can go ahead and play.
Volume is fine.
Volume is fine. I will add my own sound effects because I cannot hear the real ones. And I'll do them at a time, just to confuse everyone. Why not? I'm waiting for the pig to appear. Yep. No! Go on.
So there's a lot of subtle little things happening, like there's lighting around the eggs and the rockets.
I mean, they're going to be doing those are particles. Oh no!
There's particles and there's lighting. So you'll notice the ducks get brighter as the rocket goes close.
I can shoot the eggs as well, can't I?
You can. You even get a point for it.
Oh, you get a point.
You get 8 points for shooting an egg. You can change that. It's your game.
Think of the eggs that could have been.
Yes, the little quack was me. Most of our sound effects are me. I was gonna do a. Did I make the sound effect for the pig? I can't remember if I included it.
So these guys are speeding. Yeah, there is definitely a pig sound.
Link.
I've missed him this time around. So the speeding up of the ducks. This is. Oh no. The speeding up of the ducks. I'm trying to hold a conversation. Obviously, that in the original Space Invaders was
it's a hardware limitation.
Yeah, it was.
There was less sprites to draw, so the program was faster. But it turns out it's a really good mechanic, so we're keeping it.
So, do they move quicker per line or per duck that's destroyed?
Every time a duck is destroyed, it sends a signal to all other ducks. Every time each duck receives that signal, it increases its speed by a set amount.
Gotcha.
The ducks, the level doesn't keep track of where the ducks are, but every time a duck hits the edge, it sends a signal to the level saying, I have hit a wall, which is either the left wall or the right wall. How are you missing this pig so much? And then it sends back, oh, all ducks turn this direction. So we're separating out that logic as much as possible.
I swear that went between the ducks. Right.
Will Mikey make it? other things, the trees.
Oh no!
Basically
Ah!
Yeah, it's a little trickier than it looks, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good difficulty level. How long did it take? Obviously, you've done a little bit of playtesting here to get numbers in the right place. So, what are we looking at in terms of the playtesting that you did?
I mean, it's really hard to tell. As is typical with this, I prototype, iterate, and prototype. I legit have no idea. Legit Penguin have no idea.
I'm a professional troll. Don't worry. I'm doing that thing they do in those games, in the adverts. No, that person's so stupid. I'm going to get the game and prove it.
Yeah. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
Hey, you got a pig. Look at that.
I know, somehow.
I was tempted to push this on itch.io, but I figure Space Invaders is not that uncommon a game.
And I've only played this like 5 times, so there's no excuse really for...
I mean, it's Space Invaders, like...
I mean, I didn't play it when it first came out. Woohoo! Yes!
Oh, you made it.
I know, right? Don't sound so surprised. Whoop! And we're back.
Oh, we are. Excellent. So yeah, how long did it take me to tweak? I don't know. I just went with the values that felt right, and if they were too fast or too slow, I changed it. We resized the sprites so that they feel about right. I don't know. A lot of it is just put the values in a way that makes sense. I mean, if you take a look at, for instance, the player script or the duck script, you can see the export variables we use.
Yeah.
And like how much you speed up every time a duck dies, or how fast the pig should go. Like these are all easily tweaked. So I think something else we do that I forgot to mention, we make use of set gets.
Ooh.
And if you're new to programming, or you're not sure what those are, these are really cool. And I kind of wish we'd use them more in Godot 3. A set get is a way of handling what happens when another script or node tries to change a variable in this one. So Mikey, if you open the script.
Give me a second. No one, either you or me, posted the links. So I've just done that.
That was because it was your job.
Yep. Yeah, we can go back over to my screen. Yeah, that's fine. And you can't see my screen, can you?
If you go to, I've actually got to remember where I put these. When I put a set get, I put a set get in. Hang on a minute. I'm very tired. It's my excuse.
Right. You should be able to see my screen now, Jan.
I can see your screen. I'm just checking where I'm guiding you because I'm about to send you to the wrong place.
That's fine.
Let's see. Scripts.
Can everybody read this, by the way? I hope. I've increased the DPI in Godot under the editor settings. I can crank it up a little further.
Reasonable.
But yeah.
Readable.
Reasonably reasonable.
Yeah. Why am I... Hang on. I'm pressing the wrong button.
But yes, I can change that.
All right.
Yep.
If you do a search for music.gd.
So here, music. Yes. Here's the music
open up
script.
the music script. So music is a auto load. It's a singleton. It's a node that is open at the very top of the scene tree above all the level stuff. So the music is played constantly. Now, what we could do is we could put in a bunch of functions, and we could say, okay, change max volume. And then every time you change the volume on an audio slider, it then runs a function here. But we want to separate that out as much as possible. Only the music player should be in charge of what's happening with the music or any of the volume, right? So instead, if you look at the line on line 3, export range. So it's a variable between 0 and 10. It's a variable called master volume. The colon just means infer its type, so it's typed as an integer, and it starts as 8. And then the colon at the end. Every time a new value comes in, we're going to set this new value, which we're calling volume. We're going to change master volume to be volume. So the new value that comes in is now the new master volume. And then immediately we've got the function in there. With a set get, we can decide whether or not we're going to use the value that comes in, or if we're going to ignore it and what to do with it. So we can put in all kinds of checks, like what changed this variable? Do we want it to change? Does it have permission? Stuff like that.
That is super useful. And of course, this is just one example with the audio.
What did you do with the links?
I pasted them, but I pasted them
Did you?
both. I pasted them together.
Two
So
links in one, none working.
yeah, I think the chat system just went, oh, it's one massive compound hyperlink. Nope, no, it's just something that doesn't work.
Awesome. So yeah, the reason I want to teach these early is because if you can get your head around how set gets works, you can either do it when someone tries to get set a volume or set a variable, or to get a variable. You can decide within this script what happens. Now, if this script tries to change that variable, it doesn't use the set get, it just changes it.
Yeah.
So it's a great way of keeping things really clean and separate and making sure that this is only changed in the place we want it to be changed. Right, the options menu doesn't actually change the volume, it just changes the option, and the volume control can decide what to do with that.
And
Hello, Des.
Am I right in remembering that an export variable is one that then appears over in the inspector so you can change the value without having to go into the code every time?
It is. It is also a way of exposing a variable to yes, that's the main way you'd use it, right? Is
cool.
you put it there. It's also a way of exposing it to certain types of code. So some functions don't like to move variables that aren't export variables.
Okay. Every day's a school day, all that.
And with Godot 4, rather than just writing export, there's a new at, and there's different types of export. So there's export range, there's export. There's a few other ones. I've forgotten the other ones.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, like it's just the keywords that you have to look when you go up. I have to look this stuff up all the time. So
that is so true.
I can see your screen, but I can't see you.
That's.
You seem to be sharing your screen to me.
I am.
Ooh. See him again now.
Are you sure you wanted to see me?
Gotta call a friend and find out.
Yes. We're still getting used to all of this, so do bear with us. Honestly, we should be professionals by now.
As points out, the docs actually have a really nice upgrade page.
Oh, nice. Yes.
Syntax, which is really helpful. When I was playing with the early alphas and the documentation wasn't done yet, it took me a little while to figure this out.
So, Godot 3 to 4. I think this is a good starting page for those that don't have access to Google.
Come on, Cat. Yeah, I'm recording right now. You can't. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Mainly, I think this one's mainly focusing on if you're upgrading a current project. But of course, whether you're upgrading a current project that you're working on or you're upgrading your mind because you're working on the new project, it'd be good to glance over this if you've been playing with Godot 3 for a while.
Yes, kinematic body to character body. So they've renamed some of them. They've changed some of the basic functionality. I haven't even looked at the vehicle body stuff, but yeah, one of the big ones is kinematic bodies are now called character bodies, and there is a built-in default character body script. So when you make a character body, it comes with a working script, which we don't use in this course because we should learn how it works before we use the shortcut.
That's a valid point. There are several things with Blender like that as well, as sometimes get asked by someone who's more experienced in Blender rather than just a beginner. Oh, why didn't you do this instead of that? And I'm like, well, sometimes it's good to know some fundamental stuff before you start playing with the rest of it.
And that's really like how the pedagogy or the andragogy, if you prefer,
adult learning rather than children.
Very good.
Yeah.
Yes.
I listened in class.
That's how these courses are designed, right? I mean, what we're trying to do here is not just be, okay, we're going to make this game full of these steps, but the why of it. We're trying to encourage deep learning and metacognition.
Yeah.
And
putting things
Masters
together.
of Education training coming out.
It's bizarre because obviously when you enter sort of adult learning, it is vastly different from teaching children. I've sat in on a couple of classes. I mean, we're talking very young at this point, with primary school age. But there's a lot of repetition. Of course, and most adults would just go, why are you repeating this again and again? But it's like, it's not quite by rote, but it's almost just learning through that core repetition.
So there's there's a whole structure of the order in which you want to be learning things or teaching things, and repetition is one of the early ones because it gets the key concepts and vocabulary in, but it won't help you synthesize stuff, right?
No.
So later on, you need different kinds of education.
I'm just trying to find a before we move on to some other stuff. I'm trying to find a screenshot. I swear I sent it to someone with what I was doing with the assets before. I might have sent it to you, but I can't see it.
I don't believe so.
Yes, and we'll talk about the assets next. Of course, before we move on, does anybody have any questions about Godot for everyone? Or
I do. Mikey, would you mind fielding some Godot for Everyone questions while I go give my cat some water? Because she won't stop meowing. And I know you can't hear it, but I can. And it's very annoying.
fire away. I can
You
try and
guys-
field some questions. But if no one has questions, of course, I will move on to my story of what was happening with Blender the other week. And I'll start talking about that, and then I'll jump back to questions if and when they pop up. So busy making the dungeon assets, and no one's asking any questions, so I'm carrying on with my little anecdote about me being a numpty. Ultimately, it is on me, but I was busy just beavering away as you do, and we've all been there. Autosave, absolutely fine. Gone back to it several times. Saving, absolutely fine. And I know that I was hitting Control and S, or I thought I was hitting Control and S, or something along those lines. I was doing the right hand action. Nothing there. Blender, whilst I was playing with a modifier, because I was just changing some things around on the model to make it look... I was taking the dungeon floor, and I was making it into voxels, so then I could use cell fracture to break it all apart. And the idea being that we could have a very nice cracked floor. I tweaked a value, Blender went, nope, and just disappeared from the screen. I was like, okay, you're not hanging, you're already just hanging around. It was like, nope, I'm out of here. And I went to the autosave. Nothing in the autosave. Absolutely nothing in the temporary folder where it would normally be. I was like, okay, I can still not panicking too much at the moment. What are we going to do? But long story short, even though I thought I was saving, even though I thought autosave would have covered me, no, not at all.
Yep.
Some of the things that I have returned on now, even though you won't see them if I ever put a Git repository up of course progression, is I have now turned back on one of the options in Blender. Let me just open up Blender so any Blender folks out there can follow along. So one of the options over in Blender is the option under your file and edit preferences. One day I'll learn where these things are. Let me turn up the size here as well so everybody can see. So one of the options under your system is your autosave and undo steps. Why are these all default? Oh yeah, reinstallation. So make sure your undo steps are cranked all the way up under system, and under save and load, do turn on autosave. It doesn't always work as I experience, but do have it on. And these save versions here, I've also cranked this up as well. I don't know if that is going to save me from this strange Blender not saving thing that I had going on, but now these save versions here, you can actually, when you save your file, it'll save it blend, and then it'll put 1, 2, 3, 4 on the end of it. One of the issues actually people come into is they go ahead and save, and they ask Blender to save. Whoa, come on, computer. Blender is not liking me today at all. Okay, so yeah, this is what happens when I save. I can't save anymore. No, it's fine. One of the options when you are trying to... There we go. Trying to save stuff. So let's just save this in my downloads folder. Let's call this Cube, because that's what it is. And then when you save the first one, it's saved, but then you go and do something different, save again, do something different, save again. What you've ended up with is 3 blend files in there. So if I go into my downloads folder, we should have Cube, and then we've got Cube Blend 1 and Cube Blend 2. And they're historical, so we can go back to those other ones. But if we go into Open, they don't naturally appear. You have to go to this filter option at the top here. Then you've got your backup blend files. Now, typically, they won't all have the same timestamp on them. You don't usually save multiple times in a minute, but you can now go back in time up to whatever number you've specified here in your save option. So under Edit, Preferences, Save Versions, seems like it goes up to 32. Can we override that? No, 32 is the maximum. And that's a good bit of fallback in terms of how many saves you can go back. I'll just make sure that all those sort of things are ignored in my git ignore file, so you'll just have the raw one. Otherwise, that would be very confusing.
And hello, Speedy Boy. Thanks for joining us.
Hello, Speedy Boy.
So, questions on Godot for everyone. What's next? Next is Spooky Bricks, which is our breakout style game involving a bat and a spooky skeleton and power-ups and reflections and yeah.
Roderick, you're quite right. I'm pretty sure I pressed all of the buttons on the keyboard, including the one that says "Crash now, please."
As we used to say in the 80s, save early, save often.
Save the whales.
We did used to say that in the 80s too. I've got a cat. She's decided that this is time to socialize. So as we've had some people join in, before we carry on with stuff, we could do the sales video and Mikey trying to shoot pigs again.
Let's do the sales video first, and I shall post a link while the sales video is playing in the chat.
Hello, you wonderful Godot people, and welcome to Space Invadux, the second in our Godot for Everyone series of courses. My name's Jan, and I'm going to be your guide as we help players save the world from dastardly space ducks with our very own Legit Penguin. In this course, we're going to learn the basics of 2D game design and creation in Godot 4. From importing assets, to animated sprites, to different kinds of physics bodies. From handling projectiles, to destructible blocks, to particle explosions. From placing assets, to exporting the game. This course is a great way to get to grips with 2D games in this wonderful engine. So, pick up a copy today, and I'll see you in the first video.
And we're back again. So that's the sales video. I love that sales video. So on point.
I quite like it too. Famous Jan. Although Famous Jan, back when I still had my head shaved. Here's a question. Do I go back to shaving my head or do I keep the fuzz? I'm not doing the ponytail anymore. I'm 47 now. Ponytail is not a thing that I'm going to be doing. With my
you
hair
sure?
thinning.
I've seen some people with ponytails and no top.
Yeah, I remember those guys. When I was clubbing, the 40-something-year-olds, the 50-year-olds with thinning hair and a ponytail. I ain't going out like that.
Are you sure?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going out like that. Sounds like Final Stand.
Yep.
Oh dear. Yeah, I it's not too much longer before my fluff is just see-through. I'll keep it for the moment, though. I'll keep it for the moment.
Very non-baldy, Jan.
Cool.
I mean, the nice thing about shaving my head is people would speak to me very kindly and gently in the store in case I was undergoing cancer treatment.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, Mikey, would you like to demonstrate your skills at saving the world from dastardly plans?
Or lack of skills. Let's go. I hope I didn't modify anything while playing around with it. I'm going to turn down the volume.
Turn down for what?
What? And then... Pew-pew! I can't hear the sound, so I'm going to use my own. Oh, no! Oh, no, that's a infringement.
That's completely wrong.
Ow! All the sounds in this game from your lovely vocal cords?
No, only the duck and the pig. I do source the explosion and the rocket sound. And I provide the links for those.
Nice.
I'm glad that you're nice to pigs.
Yeah, got him. This is going to be super easy, he says. Hubris called? Yes. I am a master.
So yeah, we only make the one level. Although in the last 2 videos, I do talk about what you want to do if you want to make more levels and how you would add them in. But yeah, it's a fun little project. And for those of you who haven't noticed, the eyes on the moon creepily follow you around the place.
I'm so intent on just watching where things are.
Oh, it's a pointless little thing. The picture of
Yeah.
the moon was so creepy, I thought I'd add it in, and now the moon is called Uncanny Valerie.
A
And
new
the
character.
pig we named Pigmella.
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 Why Pigmella? Why Pigmella?
It's a traditional name.
Okay. Is it?
When my sister was having a second kid, she said, "Yeah, and you're good at names." I'm like, "Oh yeah." It's like, "Can you come up with a second name?" It's like, "What have you got so far?" Well, I was thinking Red or Pylon or Oberon. I'm like,
Oberon.
Oberon. What, you're going to name your kid after the King of the Fairies and send him to a public school? That's legally murder. So I suggested Frogmella Bendy Pig the Third, and she told me I wasn't helping.
Well, she knew what she was getting into.
The Frogmella Bendy Pig the Third is a great name, especially as it suggests that there have been two others.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Mikey, what have you been playing?
Not much apart from Project Zomboid at the moment.
With me, in fact.
Yeah. And I don't mean to troll. It seems to be a common theme.
You've actually been quite untrolly. I mean, we had a little moment where we both kept dying a lot, but
Which was neither of our fault, but still.
mostly not. No. There was a wonderful moment where, so in Project Zomboid, you can, if you're lucky, find a working car. If you're really lucky, you can find the key, or if you have the skills, you can hotwire it.
Yeah.
So I'd hotwired a big flatbed dump truck. And we were off on a mission. We were going to go several towns over and find an army surplus store and get a bunch of ammunition and a bunch of guns and some tents and some, just basically the stuff we need to really be safe. Unfortunately, I've lost control of the thing a couple of times, and the engine was starting to rattle, and the windscreens were out, and the lights were all broken. And so halfway down, I was like, "Michael, do you want to drive?" It's like, "I can drive." It's like, "Yeah, I know you can. Do you want to?" Like, "I can drive." It's like, not the question I'm asking. Would you be more comfortable driving? It's like, "Yes." Great. Let's swap, and I'll read the map. So we swap. I read the map, and as we're driving, he's saying, "We really want to make sure we don't collide with anything." Well, I wasn't trying to. Yeah, I mean, just if we hit anything, the car will be damaged. Like, I know.
Oh,
I'm
the
not trying to
engine
hit
was
things.
already quite bad at that
Like
point.
the engine's rattling. It's like, so, the trick is with this thing, don't run into things. Like, yeah, but I'm not trying to. At that point, Michael sees some zombies, swerves, rams into a tree, the truck dies, and we both get pulled out and eaten. And his face is just like, see, it's easy. It's really easy to hit a tree. They jump out at you in this game. So then we had to do a daring rescue mission, which was a very daring rescue mission. Only a torrential storm hit with red light, and we couldn't see anything, and we were murdered.
I survived. But we were murdered, but I survived. Just.
You'd already died once. That counts.
Nope.
We had to move the truck to get your corpse out.
It was crawling underneath. Like, where's all my stuff? Still on that thing.
So another game I've been playing is Shadows of Doubt. Which
that looks really, really interesting.
It is. It's very interesting.
Apparently very brutal. Sorry, I'll stop interrupting you now.
I wouldn't say brutal, but certainly difficult.
Yeah.
Shadows of Doubt is a procedurally generated voxel detective noir game. So you procedurally generate the city, and the crimes are procedurally generated, and solutions and the evidence. And because they're not handmade, you actually have to figure out what the evidence is. And sometimes you'll get this immediately. I did one where, there's a woman dead on the floor, and next to her is a crumpled piece of paper with a fingerprint on it. And I scan the fingerprint, and I get a copy, and it just says, "Let's play a game." And then there's 4 letters and an anagram.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you've written this in such a way that it's clearly initial and then 3 things, and you've only got 4 letters. So I just go to the phone book. It's like, there's one person, find her, check her fingerprints. There we go. Case solved. Not some money, please.
Yeah.
Some of them will take multiple in-game days because you just don't have a clue. Like, there's one where I know what time this person arrived. I know that they were very tall and a very large build. But the house they went to is in the blind spot of the camera, and they left no fingerprints in the house that I can find.
Oh, dear.
And I've checked this woman's address book, and I've checked her work and everyone that she knows, and I just can't figure this out. So I've just got to wait for this killer to strike again.
So the voxel game it reminded me of also had a very similar aesthetic. You basically played as a delivery driver. I can't.
I'm thinking Teardown. It reminds me of Teardown.
Yep, Teardown is a similar voxel style. Yep, definitely.
It's not destructible like Teardown, although there's a lot of freedom, like crawling through air vents or bribing people to let you in, or just breaking the door down and running.
They've done quite an incredible job to be able to make a procedural world that makes some sense in terms of the stories that develop and everything.
Yes, and there's a lot of things that, and it's only just entered early access. There's a lot of things that are not explained, at least not properly.
Yeah.
Like, there are ways you can get the last number to call this number, or there's a way you can check the CCTV of this apartment block and get a list of all the residents here. And that's really useful information, but it's not fully explained. And
yeah.
I imagine that's coming.
Yeah.
Hello, Render. Welcome.
Oh, good evening.
Yeah, there's some links up above. Some of them work, some of them not so much.
I've removed the ones that don't work. Don't worry.
So yeah, it's a really compelling game. And every time you start getting really blasé about it, like, oh, I've got this, it just stumps you. Sometimes in a fair way, sometimes not. I mean, you don't just have to do murders. You can take side jobs. Some of them are like, go wreck this person's apartment. Some of them are, someone has stolen something from my house, find it for me.
So do you end up committing crime yourself in order to get that stuff back?
I mean, I end up committing crime because it's a good way of making money. As I said to my girlfriend, Jess, I've just solved a murder. I'll be right with you. I have to go sell all these diamonds that were in the safe. But it's up to you how much you're willing to do that. You also you can buy your own apartment and decorate it and stuff, which is great. Some of the cases, procedure generated cases, are simply not fair. There was one where I had to arrest somebody who had long blonde hair, whose first name began with S, and who liked music.
Right.
Like, I'm not doing that. I have no clue who that is.
It's a large...
No, like sci-fi. And like I don't have a database of people's hobbies. I'm getting reminded in Discord. It was one murder really threw me. Someone was found having been murderized with a razor. Fingerprint on the razor. Gotcha. Check the CCTV, and tall blonde woman at the door just before the murder. Doesn't live in the building. Gotcha. Identify the woman. Show the picture around. Go to the house. Fingerprint doesn't match the woman.
Oh dear.
Fingerprint matches the husband. Arrest the husband. Arrest the husband. Hand the case in. Penalty for false arrest. The woman had used her husband's razor and framed him.
That's quite...
Yeah.
Well, that feels quite detailed for something that's procedurally done.
So they're actually using real things that they own as murder weapons.
It's a nice
so
bit of
if
depth.
it's her husband's razor, you can't just use the fingerprint and say he was in the house. You have to actually check who was there and why. Like, I was very impressed by that. That was a sneaky one.
Has anybody else played this game yet?
Yes, lots of people have played it.
I meant in our audience.
We should probably put a link to it, shouldn't we?
I'm still looking for the voxel game that I'm thinking of.
Minecraft.
No, Cloudpunk.
That's what I said.
Cloudpunk, yeah.
I tried Cloudpunk, and it was interesting. I didn't feel myself drawn. I mean, the world was very fun. I didn't feel myself drawn to drive around a lot.
I used it as kind of a chill moment because it was very switch your brain off, cruise around this arguably beautiful city as well.
Yeah, it was a stunning game. I don't know. I wonder if it's because I had to commute 3 hours a day when I lived in the States that I've just come to hate driving. I loathe it. Not doing it.
Yeah, I've been very deliberate over the years not to try to avoid long journeys wherever possible. Yeah, adding hours to your daily grind is
I was working 4 jobs at the time as well. So
crazy.
I'd get up at 5 in the morning, teach kids in China, shower, drive to one college, teach there, drive to the next college, teach there,
Yeah.
drive home, record Godot videos. Like that was rough. I do remember that I was talking to one of my students and I mentioned I teach kids in China, and she said, "Well, online?" Like, no, I commute. Like, welcome to college.
It's a little bit of a commute, just a little.
The devs are, in fact, working on the next one. They're working on, I believe, set in the same world, but I think
Okay,
you own a shop or a store, something like that. Like it's not about the driving; it's about being in that world.
nice. I'll look forward to seeing that. Yeah,
Yep.
I think this world was put together by using Magic of Voxel as well.
Oh, interesting.
For those who don't know, Magic of Voxel is a voxel 3D package, a bit like Blender in many respects, but a lot more simple.
Yeah, I'd say it's closer to a voxel A sprite. Like you can create assets and animate them and things like that. It's a really cool piece of software. But yeah, Shadows of Doubt, check it out if you want to. It's not the easiest game, and it's not always fair, and it is in early access, and there
Yeah.
are bugs. Some of them are great. The AI is very good, except when it isn't. For example, I have
Yeah.
found that if you really need to get to a security office, you can just knock on the door, barge past the cop, handcuff him, and he won't turn around, and then you can just take your time.
There we go. I believe that is the link for Magic of Voxel. It's still a beta program, but they excuse me. By the looks of it, since the last time that I used it, they've added in a lot of extra graphical elements, so you can have maybe depth of field and fog and things like that. Because
I wonder if it'd be
gorgeous.
worth playing with it before we get to Tunki Kickabout.
Quite possibly. I mean, some of the things on here obviously have taken people a long time to put together. A bit like building something manually in Minecraft.
Mm.
But the stuff in here, from the last time I played with it as well, I'm just having a look at some of the demo slides here. In fact, with the magic of the interwebs, I can do this. And you guys can still... Can I zoom in on this? Will it allow me to?
I don't know, but I have to give Izcat some water now, so be right back.
Yeah, I'm just having a look at these, and I'm just... to think these are just like Minecraft cubes is amazing. I mean, it shouldn't be amazing, not for me, but I love this sort of stuff. The way that your brain can fill in the gaps in the information that it just isn't there, and some of these are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, obviously there's some artistic stuff going on here with the blue and the contrary orange color, and
I could do that. I just don't want to.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
But I mean, this is just if you wanted to build up a level and have this voxel style, this is an amazing way of doing it. And you can actually export this and start using it straight away over in Blender. So you can create things, and then if you prefer Blender for some certain aspects, perhaps rendering out, you can go ahead and do that over there. But yeah,
I need to play around with this because I know that you can animate with this to make animated characters. Yeah. I'm wondering how that works with import. Like, I'd love to see how that works, because that could be an interesting way of dealing with.
Especially if it allows you to export as like a GLTF with all the texture data that you've generated, or maybe even it might use. I've forgotten the word for it now, where you have the color information on the vertex colors. It might. Right, we got there in the end. Hi guys, I'm awake, honest. That was real time. That was real time, Mikey brain.
I mean, mine does that all the time, but still, that was great.
Oh dear.
But yeah, it seems to work really well. I mean, it used to work really well with Godot. I'd love to play around with the animation stuff. Although that's not the priority right now. First, I've got to do spooky bricks, and once I get the RPG assets, the castle assets, start making the dungeon generator course.
So yeah, loads to look forward over the next couple of weeks. What we're going to try and get back into is, because we started it last year, we started doing sort of like a weekly, once every week we do something slightly.
Before you mention that, the Godot Jam is back, and they've asked if we can do one on Monday.
Next Monday.
So I'll do Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, the plan is to get back into it through sickness and other life getting in the way. We kind of took a little bit of a break from it, but we'll get back into a weekly pattern of a general chat like this, an update on week 1. This is week 1. Week 2 can be Godot. Week 3 Blender, and then week 4 is kind of a chill week, and then we just go back around.
Is that where you
repeat.
just play a bunch of like ambient and?
I mean, actually, yes. I was practicing the other day and seeing whether the streaming would do music. So maybe we'll have a music stream one and just like chill. Alternatively,
if you do smooth jazz, I'm out.
Maybe not. I'm not a big fan of smooth jazz.
I'm not a fan of jazz. Period.
And
I hear the talent, and I like that people like it. I don't. I have people explain to me, "Oh, you just haven't heard good jazz," to which I say, "You just haven't heard good death metal." You're allowed not to like some styles of music.
Absolutely fine. And so week 4, more of a chill. Maybe have a look at some games, do a little bit, not of a review of a game, but more of a technical analysis.
Render. I mean, I was thinking about doing a particles party, but a game in 40 minutes or a game in 60 minutes is fun.
It's stressful.
I need to make a decision. Yeah. Have you ever considered reviewing, play streaming your viewers' games?
We have in the past. Kaiser, I think his name was. He made a tank game in Godot, I think, and exported it, and we did a review of that. It wasn't a live.
You did. I wasn't there that week.
Yeah, it wasn't a live one, as far as I. Oh no, I think it was actually. Anyway. Details aside, yes, we have done that in the past. So if that is something that you guys want us to do, warts and all, the great thing that Jan and I can turn on and off in our heads is this is a work in progress. This is a proof of concept of a certain mechanic within a game. So, I mean, it's very disheartening sometimes if you show someone a piece of work and they don't understand that and they think it's the final product, and this will happen all the time. And if you get feedback based upon it being a final product, that is not useful feedback.
I mean, we've talked about this before. Feedback is actually one of those difficult things because often when you ask people for feedback, they give you their opinion.
Yes.
And the problem with opinion is, while there's a place for it, it's not actually what you need to make something better.
Yeah.
The idea is to give a constructive insight as to here's what I notice, here's what I like, here's what I wonder, and offer them avenues for thought that they maybe haven't thought of, which they can then decide to take or not take. Feedback should not be, could you do that but good? Or it needs to be more fun.
It has to be actionable, ultimately. That doesn't look good. Well, why do you think... And of course, one of the best things is making sure you've got permission to give feedback. Someone might be showing you something just to show you their progress. They might not want any feedback. So I would...
feedback should be given in a way that people can decide for themselves if they want to take it or not.
Yeah, totally.
I was taught, when I was doing my education degree... always, this is the Liz Lerman method, always start with I think, or I notice, or I wonder.
Yes.
And don't try and weasel out of it. I noticed this kind of sucked. Like, you can't do that. But the idea is entirely to give them something that they might think about, and maybe they use it or maybe they don't. Roderick says it'll be great for a magical and mythical 4th stream of the month. It would, but people have to give us their games.
Yes. I will make a note to remind myself to make a note to remind myself to finally ask you guys over on the Discord if there is something you want to show and tell. Of course, it doesn't have to be a game. It could be a piece of artwork that you're working on, 2D, 3D, or otherwise. So that's
interpretive dance.
Maybe. I'll let you take lead on that one. If we get any interpretive dances going your way.
I mean, you don't have to know anything about it. You just have to think, notice, and wonder.
I wonder if Jan would like to take a look at this.
You're not allowed to weasel out of it.
I deny your reality.
If we don't, we can just we could do a stream where we play stuff. I believe Human Fall Flat has more levels.
Yes, they're always good fun.
There's Project Zomboid. There's some other games that have come out recently.
Yes.
I'd love to see your take on Shadows of Doubt.
I might get it. I've been umming and ahhing. I've been incredibly careful.
I mean, I got it
recently
because it was my birthday.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having it.
Yeah, mine. I've been deliberate so far. I will add things to my Steam list, and I try not to be too stingy. You know, there are some things that I will probably never do anymore, and that's buy a game that's like £60 or £70 and it's just been released, because that's just a way of re-downloading it the following day with all of the bugs not fixed, and then downloading it a week later and your save game gets anyway.
I mean, I have to be very, very sure of a game to spend that kind of money on it.
Yeah. I would do that if you and I, for instance, let's play this game. This game's really good. Let's do it. Boom, go. Because
if we know it's really good, then sure.
Yeah.
But like after SimCity 4, I'm not pre-ordering anymore.
SimCity 4. That's going back.
Oh, that was a disaster. It patently didn't do what it pretended to do.
Nice.
Like, we are actively simulating everyone in the city. They have their jobs and their homes. You can actually follow them from place to place. And if you do that, here's what they do. They leave their house. They walk along the street. They get to their place of employment. And it's like, oh, no, time to go home. They immediately turn around and go to the nearest house and then are removed from the game.
That isn't correct.
And they may have changed it since, but that was rough.
Yeah. I played Cities, which is City Skylines.
City Skylines very good.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
Coming up with their answer to The Sims in September, August, called Life by You, which looks very interesting.
Nice.
It's got modding built in. It's like career creators, town creators, the whole thing, a big open world space. Yeah. Like, I'm interested to see what they do with that.
Oh, one game that I've not played yet, which may or may not surprise you, is Kerbal Space Program 2.
I haven't played that either.
I was so eager to get it, but I also knew it was going to be bugged, and boy was it buggy. I remember I went
videos of the first few days.
Yeah, I went through the joyride of KSP in the first time round, and
is joyride the word you want?
Yeah, sure. You
jumped on it, stole it, and rode around until it broke. Like,
I mean, it was in alpha. It was gonna break. It just happened. And that was fun when I had the time to play and bug report and everything else. These days, my time is incredibly precious. So the whole I want to bug test, I think I'll leave that to people with more time at the moment. But I'd have loved to have been on the alpha train with it, but not at the moment.
It looks very cool. It's one of those games I've never played. I never played the original. And I have kind of a hit and miss relationship with these engineering games, like Space Engineers. Really cool. I can't get my head around it.
I love the concept of Space Engineers.
Can't get my head around it. We should play Barotrauma now that it's gone live.
Ooh.
Get a couple more people and just die horribly in a submarine while
you
set fire to the reactor.
When Mikey... Okay, I'll tell my story, then you tell the reactor story. So, Jan tells me that you can rewire electrics in the game. So I'm just trying to play around and linking things together to see what they do. I managed to link something together, which means that when one door opens...
Let's explain what this is first.
No.
Okay, this is a multiplayer futuristic submarine simulator set on Europa. Inspired by Space Station 13. It's the first game that breaks the curse of Space Station 13. So incredible depth, incredible amount of simulation.
It's
really
tense at times as well. Very tense.
So Mikey's running around with a screwdriver. Carry on.
I'm playing around with the electricity panels on the wall. I did manage to shock myself a couple of times. Medic! And I managed to wire it up so that when one door opens, all doors open, including
he was so
the one.
Proud. He was like, "Oh, look what I've done! It's great!" And at which point, he opens all the doors on a submarine, including the airlocks, and we drown.
It was towards the end of the game. I thought I'd experiment.
Especially as, did you know what happens if you get seawater on an electrical panel like a door control?
It breaks. You can't shut the door anymore. And then there was the other incident where I didn't play the tutorial, so I went to help refuel the reactor.
Okay, in fairness, it wasn't just you. It was you and my friend Matt. Matt, who had done some of the tutorial, but hadn't done the engineering stuff. I was the engineer in this mission. So I'd learned how to do the reactor. I was outside the sub. We'd just been attacked, and I was like with a welding torch trying to plug leaks, and the reactor goes down. So they both run to the reactor room. Mikey says, "I've got it! Quick, hand me the radioactive rods." So he hands them all the nuclear rods. Mikey puts them all into the reactor at once and turns it on. So it explodes.
I just made a bomb.
So there's fire everywhere. I come in and the engine room's on fire and flooding.
We're dead at this point.
At which point, a creature starts trying to come in. So Matt shoots me in the back of the head.
Not deliberate.
Yeah, right. It's one of those games that's a great story generating game.
Yeah.
Very tense, lots of cool stuff you can do. And once you get a crew who kind of knows what they're doing, you can do things like toggle on the optional traitor mechanics. Maybe one of you's a traitor.
Turns out that Matt and I were both saboteurs.
I mean, I wasn't perfect in that game either. Like, I messed up a lot, not least of which was forgetting to bring any medical equipment when Mikey was shocked. So running up to him going, "Yep, you're dying," and then running away. Like, not that useful.
Good medic.
But yeah, I mean, it does remind me a lot of Space Station 13, which has some of my favorite stories of all time.
Yeah, very, very enjoyable game.
However, we are coming up to the hour.
Ooh.
And I know we've had some people come in. So here's my thinking. We could do the sales video, and while we're doing that, we could ask if people have any questions, concerns, thoughts, comments, interpretive dances, and jingles, and then we can do the Push It song.
Go!
Hello, you wonderful Godot people, and welcome to Space Invadux, the second in our Godot for Everyone series of courses. My name's Jan, and I'm going to be your guide as we help players save the world from dastardly space ducks with our very own legit penguin. In this course, we're going to learn the basics of 2D game design and creation in Godot 4, from importing assets to animated sprites to different kinds of physics bodies, from handling projectiles to destructible blocks to particle explosions, from placing assets to exporting the game. This course is a great way to get to grips with 2D games in this wonderful engine. So, pick up a copy today, and I'll see you in the first video.
And we're back. I'm really looking forward to seeing what people make. Of course, if you take the Space Invadux course, you're going to be able to make much more from it. So if you do, as Roderick was asking earlier, share it with us, and we will have fun with it on stream.
We will. And post videos of you playing it with better scores than Michael.
Impossible.
You could also, if you want, have Space Ducks save the world from Legit Penguin. We give you both sprite sheets.
I can actually answer...
How long is the running time of the course? It is 4 hours and 50 minutes, I think. Is that what we came up with?
It was around that, yes. So that is for Invadux. Just trying to get... I keep wanting to call it Invadux, and I've been holding my tongue because Jan doesn't like it. Invadux. And rock, paper, toucan. So Godot for Everyone is obviously growing. That's going to have the backball game, which Spooky Bricks.
I want to put in another 2D game as well. I just haven't figured out what it is yet. At which point we'll go over to
3D afterwards.
Tuki Kickabout, and then we'll go into another 3D game, which I haven't figured out yet.
Okay, so I will just do a quick count up here. I should know these figures at some point. So in total, we're running at about 7 hours of content at the moment in Godot for Everyone. And obviously that will get larger as we go.
And each course I'm expecting to get bigger as, the scope of the courses get more complicated.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't skip over some of the details here. Yeah, that's correct. Awesome. Well, I think it's time to say goodbye to everybody, unless we have any other questions.
No, I think it's time to play the music, and it's time to light the lights. Oh, you've gone really bright. What happened?
Dark mode does not exist on this browser.
Oh, my eyes.
My eyes.
Hold on a minute. I don't care about yours. No, that's worse.
There we go. Dark mode.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Ah,
And I will actually disappear when I turn that screen off like that.
it's fine.
Welcome to the after party with me, your host, Mike, and over there, Jan.
So this vocal technique he's doing is known in the industry as gushing. And there was a time when
What
all
a
radio
lovely-
DJs were told to speak like this, but now it's considered very bad practice because it sounds so artificial and cheesy.
That's the effect I'm going for.
So, yeah, thank you for joining us. Share your games, have fun with the project, have fun with the other projects. We're going to get started in the new ones soon. And
We'll see you all next week. Bye!
bye!
Jan,
Press it!
I don't have Firefox.
Press
open.
it! Press it!
There we go.
Press
Got it. Got it. Got it. Bye!
Bye!